Dear students, I am Dr. Vibhu Trivedi, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemical Engineering, Meerut Institute of Engineering and Technology, and the topic of this video lecture is Introduction to Geothermal Energy Resources. So, let's see the definition of geothermal energy. The word geothermal comes from the Greek words geo, which means earth, and therm, which means heat. So, geothermal is heat from within the earth. We can use the steam and hot water produced inside the earth to heat buildings or generate electricity. Geothermal is a renewable energy resource because the water is replenished by rainfall and the heat is continuously produced inside the earth. Although higher and lower temperatures occur, the average temperature at a depth of 10 km is about 200 degrees Celsius. US Geological Survey define geothermal source as all of the heat stored in Earth's crust above 15 डिग्री सेल्सियस टू अ डेप्थ ऑफ 10 किलोमीटर। यानी अर्थ की सरफेस से जैसे जैसे हम गहराई की तरफ मूव करते हैं टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज होता जाता है ड्यू टू द प्रेजेंस ऑफ लावा मैग्मा एटसेट्रा इन द डिफरेंट layers of earth. So when somehow water comes in the contact with these hot substances, it becomes it also becomes hot, or sometimes it converts to steam, which is shown on the surface in the forms of hot water springs or geysers, etc. And we can utilize this energy for various purposes, and this energy from the within the earth's surface is called our geothermal energy. So after knowing about geothermal energy, we can now define a geothermal field or geothermal reservoir where, or the area where we can find our geothermal energy sources. So a geothermal system requires heat, permeability and water. The heat from the earth's core continuously flows outward. Sometimes the heat as magma reaches the surface as lava, but it usually remains below the earth's crust, heating nearby rock and water sometimes to levels as hot as 370 degrees Celsius. When water is heated by earth's heat, hot water or steam can be trapped in permeable and porous rocks under a layer of impermeable rock, and a geothermal reservoir can form. This hot geothermal water can manifest itself on the surface as hot springs or geysers, but most of it stays deep underground, trapped in cracks and porous rock. This natural collection of hot water is called a geothermal reservoir or geothermal field. So in this figure we can see that rainwater seeps down the surface of the earth and it comes with the contact of hot rock, which becomes hot due to the presence of magma or lava, and this hot water in particular places of the earth manifests itself in the form of hot water springs or geysers, etc. So what are the main factors of a geothermal field? These are heat, which is provided by the hot rocks or magma, permeability of the rock through which water can go down to the earth's surface and move out from it, and water, which is essentially the carrier of this heat. So by combining all these factors, a geothermal field or geothermal reservoir is formed. Now, geothermal resources are categorized in 5 general categories, and let's see what are these. So first is hydrothermal convective systems, and these are again subclassified as vapor dominated or dry steam fields. Second type is liquid dominated system or wet steam fields, and third is hot water fields. So hydrothermal convective systems are basically those systems where water is natural water is heated by the earth's heat, and it comes to the surface in various forms. Next types of source are geopressure sources. So here hot water comes uh, uh, to the surface at very high pressure because the water is present in the very large depth under the surface of earth. Next type of sources are petrothermal or hot dry rocks. So they are dry rocks because natural water is not present besides them, and for utilizing them we have to use uh, some means to artificially inject water in their contact. Fourth type of sources are magma resources, and fifth sources are volcanoes. So volcanoes basically spit lava, which is obviously a form of geothermal energy. So let's describe all these sources one by one. So hydrothermal systems in general are those in which water is heated by contact with the hot rock. So we have discussed it earlier. Now, what is the vapor dominated systems? So in this system, the water is vaporized into steam that reaches the surface in a relatively dry condition at about 200 degrees Celsius and rarely above 7 kg per centimeter square pressure or 8 bar pressure. This steam is the most suitable for use in turboelectric power plants with the least cost. These types of systems are very less in numbers. There are only 5 known sites in the world. The Geysers plant in the United States of America is the largest such plant, and Larello in Italy is another place where vapor dominated systems are found. So, in such systems, a dry steam in the form of superheated steam comes to the surface, and we can directly use this steam to our turbines to manufacture electricity. Now, second type of hydrothermal system is liquid dominated system. So, in these, the hot water circulating and trapped underground is at a temperature range of 175 degrees Celsius to 315 degrees Celsius. When tapped by wells drilled in the right places and to the right depths, the water flows naturally to the surface or is pumped up to it. The drop in pressure, usually to 8 bar or less, causes it to partially flash to a two-phase mixture of low quality, that is liquid dominated. It contains relatively large concentration of dissolved solids ranging between 3000 to 25,000 ppm and sometimes higher. Power production is adversely affected by these solids because they precipitate and cause scaling in pipes and heat exchanger surfaces, thus reducing flow and heat transfer. Liquid dominated systems, however, are much more plentiful than vapor dominated systems. So these types of systems are easily available or very or not very rare like vapor dominated systems, but their disadvantage is that here pure steam is not found. As water comes to the surface by drilling etc, it flashes in a two phase mixture which contains steam and also water. So we have to separate the steam from water to use it in a turbine or in a power plant. And another disadvantage with them is that they contain high quantity of dissolved solids, and they can affect the power plant by scaling the equipment etc, and cause some other difficulties also. So after these two, the third type of hydrothermal systems are hot water fields. So they are simply uh, geothermal aquifers that contain reservoirs of water between 60 to 100 degrees Celsius. This type of geothermal field is the most common. Hot water fields are usually used for space heating and agricultural applications but can't be used for much else due to their relatively low temperatures. Hot water fields can also be utilized for binary power plants, which use the hot water to evaporate a substance with a lower boiling point, which in turn spins a turbine to produce electricity. So, when temperatures of geothermal sources are low, then obviously water does not changes its phase and remains liquid, but its temperature is higher than the usually found water in nature. And this type of water, which has the temperature of 60 to 100 degrees Celsius, can be used for space heating in buildings and agriculture, etc. The hot water springs, as I told earlier, of Manikaran in Himachal Pradesh is one of the example of such geothermal reservoirs. Their use, uh, they can be used for power production also, but in a binary cycle plant in which a fluid which has a lower boiling point than water is used as working fluid. So, and these are were all the subcategories of hydrothermal systems. And not second type of systems are geopressure systems. So, as the name suggests, these reservoirs contain moderately high temperature water or brine. Brine, that means it contains higher salt content than fresh water under very high pressure. They are of special interest because substantial amounts of methane, which is basically natural gas, are dissolved in the pressurized water and are released when the pressure is reduced. So, geopressured water is tapped in much deeper underground aquifers, which have the depths of about 2,400 to 9,000 meters. So, it is found under uh, very deep places. So, this water is thought to be at the relatively low temperature of 100 degrees, 60 degrees Celsius, and is under very high pressure because of the depth. So, pressure is about 1050 kilogram per centimeter square or more than 1000 bar, and it has a salinity of 4 to 10%. That's why it is referred to as brine also. So these resources are also abundant, like liquid dominated sources. They could be used for generation of electric power and the recovery of natural gas if the suitable technology can be developed. Now, third type is hot, dry rock or petrothermal system. So, as the name suggests, here water does not have access to these type of rocks because these are not permeable. Either these are not permeable or they are situated at such places where water is not groundwater is not available. So, in order to utilize this resource, means must be found for breaking up impermeable rock at depth, introducing cold water, and recovering the resulting hot water or steam for use at the surface. The known temperatures of HDR vary between 150 to 290 degrees Celsius. This energy, also called petrothermal energy, represents by far the largest resources of geothermal energy of any type, as it accounts for a large percent of the geothermal resource. Much of the HDR occurs at moderate depths, but it is largely impermeable. In order to extract thermal energy out of it, water will have to be pumped into it and back out to the surface. It is necessary for the heat transport mechanism that a way must be found to render the impermeable rock into a permeable structure with a large heat transfer surface. A large surface is particularly necessary because of the low thermal conductivity of the rock. Rendering the rock permeable is to be done by fracturing it. Fracturing methods that are used are involve drilling of the wells and then fracturing by high pressure water or nuclear explosives. So in case of hot dry rocks, we have to artificially introduce the water under the earth to come into contact with such rocks, and they provide temperatures of 150 to 290 degrees Celsius to that water. So the resulting hot water which is received at a surface can be in the form of water or also in the form of steam, which can be further used in power plants. So these are also a promising type of geothermal resources. Fourth are magma resources. These consist of partially or completely molten rock with temperatures in excess of 650 degrees Celsius, which may be encountered at moderate depths, especially in recently active volcano regions. These resources have a large geothermal energy content, but they are restricted to a relatively few locations. Furthermore, the very high temperatures will make extraction of the energy a difficult technological problem. So magma resources provide very high temperatures, but there are two restrictions with them, that they are usually found near uh, active volcanoes. So such places are rare in on our earth, and so are the magma resources, and also due to the high temperatures, useful utilization of energy is also difficult. So in this video we got an introduction of the geothermal energy as a renewable energy resource and its different sources. Thank you.